This is an add-on video to my previous review of the H&K USP Compact in .40 Smith & Wesson. Some of my viewers on that video said, "Hey dude, you're comparing a USP Compact against a Glock 17 in a different caliber. It's really not a fair comparison." And actually, that's a fair criticism, as I said in my response to the comments. And that's why I'm producing this video. I'm always going to strive to be as honest and as accurate as I can in my reviews. That doesn't mean I will never make mistakes. I will. Anybody will, especially in unscripted reviews, which I do. I don't read from a script. I just go for it. Now, and I'm just drawing upon my knowledge of the thing being reviewed. And occasionally I'll miss a couple items and I'll say, God, I wish I would have included that. And there might be one or two of those items I'll cover in this review that I may have forgotten in the previous. But the main reason I'm doing this review is to compare apples to apples. And we're going to settle this issue once and for all about the USP Compact 40, because I'm comparing it now to its arch competitor, the Glock 23, which is in the same caliber, the same form factor, meaning it is a compact, not subcompact, but compact semi-automatic pistol. So let's get going. Let's knock this stuff out and put this issue to rest, and we'll see which one wins at the end. And again, these are based on my own experiences, of which I have a lot, and my own opinions. So yours may vary, and that's fine. That's why you have a camera. You can make a video. So I'm going to go down the list like I have before of things about guns, and I'm just going to hit each one. Let's start off with the weight issue between the H&K USP Compact and the Glock 23. Let's bring old Mr. Digital Scale out here, and he'll settle this weight issue, and you know that it's big with me. So we're going to first put the USP Compact on the scale, and it weighs 1 pound 12.4 ounces. By the way, both of these guns were previously safety cleared by myself. They are unloaded, however we always treat them like they are loaded. Let's put the Glock on the scale, and when we put the Glock on the scale, it weighs 1.78 ounces. So that's a 4.5 ounce, almost 5 ounce difference between the guns. That's substantial. And you know I'm big on weight. There's reasons for it. It gives us more maneuverability, less fatigue as we carry the gun day to day, especially if you're a police officer, a law enforcement officer, federal officer, whatnot. Heck, even an armed citizen. Less weight is better, and the H&K loses out. Why they made this gun as chunky and as heavy as they did is beyond me. But it is, and the Glock indeed wins by almost 5 ounces. That's substantial. Let's go down the list. Firepower. Now, this is a matter of some controversy to a lot of owners. They're saying, well, heck, there's only a 1 round difference between a Glock 23 and a USP Compact 40. And what they're talking about is a standard magazine. So if we take the magazine out of each of these guns, we look at it, indeed, the USP Compact holds 12 rounds. The Glock 23 holds 13 rounds. So in a head-to-head comparison, the Glock wins. But it actually, the gap widens when you consider some other issues. One of the issues you need to consider is, first, the size of the magazines. Look how you can fit 13 rounds in the size in that size compared to the USP Compact. It's a much more efficient magazine. Moreover, it's made of polymer with stainless steel liners, which I think is a better design and a more durable design because the feed lips won't bend as much. And actually, I'm kind of going into a different category. I'll try to remember to talk about that. But we're talking about firepower now. And one of the things I was going to remind you of is that you can add extensions to the Glock magazine. A +2 base plate from the factory, and there's several aftermarket suppliers that do it as well. Now, this is a magazine from its larger brother, the Glock 22, one of the most widely issued police pistols in the United States, at least, and this is an example of it. This has also been safety cleared, empty. And the Glock 22 is an outstanding pistol, and this is its magazine. Well, what do you know, the Glock 22 magazine holding 15 rounds, wrong gun, fits into the Glock 23. So, and actually, I'm sorry, that's 17 round magazine that we're looking at right now. So, firepower wise, the Glock 23 has a lot more options. And even if you just take into consideration its normal magazine capacity, 13 versus 12, it wins in a smaller form factor. So we're talking firepower. Yes, it's only one round in standard magazines, but that one round may save your life that day, right? So the Glock wins. That's in firepower. Let's move on down the list, and we're going to go to durability and reliability now. I'm going to give both of these guns very high marks, and it's a tie. And I've spoken to this already in my previous videos. They're both excellent. Same for accuracy. Both guns, the Glock 23, H&K Compact, USP Compact, excellent guns in accuracy, durability, reliability, all the same. One does not hold an edge over the other. Now we go into ergonomics, and this is a point of controversy. I talked to some points on the ergonomics of the H&K USP Compact in my previous video. By the way, if I run long, I'll do a part 2 of this video. Ergonomically, there are a lot of good things about the USP, and hopefully I mentioned most of them. One thing that I didn't mention between the two guns is they do have a different grip angle. The Glock 23 has a steeper grip angle, and the USP Compact has a more vertical, or closer to vertical grip angle. And this is a matter of just subjective preference of which one a shooter likes. Maybe some shooters will like the pointability of the USP better over the Glock 23, where others, a lot of people say, hey, I love the Glock, I like that, I find that it points more naturally with this steeper, for lack of a better word, grip angle. And what I'm talking about is angle more like along the lines towards I don't want to say Luger, because that one had a really steep pistol angle. Anyways, let's just say they're different. This one is more near vertical. Now, which one do I prefer? I really don't have a preference. I can shoot either gun accurately and they're both nice in that respect. However, when we look at just the grips, if I hold, it's interesting because when you have both guns side to side like this, you can really compare the ergonomics. So you can hold the Glock 23, saddle on up, hold the H&K USP Compact. Man, it's hard saying all that. I'll just call it the USP. The USP you can hold. And when I do that, I actually, this might shock you, but I actually like the grip better than the Glock. Because one, it has very purposeful stippling on it, and I forgot to mention that on my previous video. I like that a lot, so it locks in the hand. Also, the grip circumference seems to be a little bit more narrow, and that might be an outgrowth of its all-metal magazine, which is a little bit thinner than the polymer magazine. So some of y'all might say that's an advantage, and it could be termed as such. So the grip itself, a little bit more ergonomic for me. However, the Glock 23, still excellent. Very comfortable for me. And again, my hands kind of tend towards a large size, truth be told, so I can go with either one. It works fine for me. So, but there's a lot more things that are involved in ergonomics besides the grips. And what I was thinking about is something else I got to talk about. And what I'm talking about is the trigger guard issue previously mentioned in my previous USP video. So I'm going to stick with that criticism on the design. And also the slide release. And in terms of slide release, I think the USP wins. It's a bigger, more comfortable slide release. Now I'm talking stock guns here as they come from the factory. It is a very, very easy thing to change this slide release out from a Glock 23 to an extended slide release by Glock as well. I put a Glock 34 slant 35 slide release on all mine. That way it's extended and it pretty much mitigates that advantage that the USP has. But from the factory, this slide release is actually a lot easier to manipulate. Now some say, hey, dude, I don't ever use a slide release. When my slide locks back, jam a new magazine in, and I just release the slide itself. That's the biggest slide release I can find. And there's a lot to be said for that, because under stress your fine motor skills do deteriorate, and just pulling and releasing the slide is probably a great training way to do it. Me, I always use a slide release. I have for years. It's just what I'm in the habit of doing. Alright, there's going to have to be a part 2 to this to put this issue to rest. Apples to apples. Tune in just a second. I'll finish it in part 2.